now 7 a.m. It's now time for the morning watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, probing why we have abandoned poor relief relatives and the families that abandon them. And in second watch, savings law clause. For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on the abandonment and poor relief relatives? Share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel. And also on WhatsApp, 876-9973-125, 876-9973-125, using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on in the program, but first, as I quote.
All right, today's I quote says, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase." And this one is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Even when you don't see the whole staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Faith indeed. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning.
The first watch will be back after this break.
Hey, small people crew, it's me, Auntie Vashti, and there's so much about Jamaica. I can't wait to share it with you. Join me this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on the Small People Show, where little voices make big sounds. This and every Thursday on Jamaica Up Close, it's all about our treasured island, Jamaica. From fun facts to hidden gems and all the things that make us truly special. Don't miss out. Tune in this and every Thursday on Jamaica Up Close at 4:30 p.m. with me, Auntie Vashti, only on the family station, Love 101.
This Thursday, May 15, on the Truly Marvelous program To Have and To Hold with Dr. Colleen Beckles and co-host Andre Allen Casey, we're diving into the real and often unspoken tension of cognitive dissonance in our marriages. What happens when your values and your relationship experiences don't line up? When your heart says one thing, but your reality feels different. Whether you're newly married or have been in it for years, this episode will help you unpack those inner conflicts and learn how to move towards clarity, connection, and healing. Don't miss it, Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. In some countries, caring for the sick and elderly with respect and properly is part of their culture. But here in Jamaica, we sometimes seem to forget that. Some of us, some persons have abandoned our sick and elderly in state institutions. Some of these relatives might have fallen on difficult times, and it's as if now that things are not going so well for them, we forget them. Where did things go wrong, and how can this be addressed? We have as our guests this morning Father Can Honeygun. And Father Can Honeygun is a priest, he is a minister of religion, and he preached at the St. Jude's Anglican Church in Stony Hill. We also have Pauline Bain. Pauline Bain is an associate counseling psychologist. Good morning, Pauline Bain. Good morning, Father Can Honeygun.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now, when did we start to, well, what do you, let me start from a maybe psychological angle, starting with you, Pauline Bain. What do you think gets into the minds of individuals when they appear to, can I just say appear to for the time being, when they appear to not give the sort of attention to their relatives as they probably would have done before had they been in better financial times?
Uh,
Pauline.
Thank you for having me, Stokeley. First of all, I want to emphasize that this is a very complex and painful issue, and there aren't easy solutions.
Pauline Bain, are you trying to find an excuse for those who have abandoned their relatives?
No, I'm not. I just want
Painful,
to.
and is it
I
complex as if
want to
there's some
begin to
difficult?
paint the picture. I just want to begin to paint the picture that it's complex, it's painful, and the solutions are possible, but we've got to look at them and implement them. When did we start? As a child growing up, I would hear people say, carry him go arms out.
Carry him go
So,
where?
arms out, arms,
Arms
ALMS.
house.
Yeah.
ALMS. Yes.
And for the children, they would say, government will take care of him. And for the children, if the children are not behaving well, they say, send them to the homes, meaning a children's home, because government will take care of them. So we have had for a long time this history of giving over our adults who can't manage and our children to the care of government. And we feel that we don't have the responsibility. And I'm not saying this is everybody, I'm saying this is something that I have observed over time. But part of the issue is weak family structures. We're not in touch with our families. We don't know who sometimes is our family because of the way how our people have engaged in sexual activity and produced children. So I see that as part of it. And then another part of it is our individualism. I'm in a family, but I'm an individual. I'm not even in a family, sometimes we would say. It's me alone and God. And so we look after ourselves. And when we do better, we forget the rest of the family. So, as I say, it's a really complex issue. And part of it for me is our willingness to go beyond the hurt and the pain and to forgive. The statistics,
Interesting.
the statistics show that it's the males who are more likely to be abandoned than the females. And let
Why
us
is
look
that
at our
so? Why is that
statistics.
so? Why is that so, Pauline B?
Because our men, I don't want to go back to slavery and what happened on the plantations, but that's part of the history also, because our men have not, most of them have not learned how to be nurturers. But let me tell you something. I'm seeing a difference. I move around Kingston and I'm seeing men with their babies. walking with their babies, enjoying their babies. So we just need to look at it and see how we can begin to fix some of those big problems.
Reverend Can Honeygun, are you going to also say it's a complex issue? Why is
Oh,
it?
yes.
If you have
Oh,
abandoned your relative, you have just abandoned your relative. What is the complexity? I'm not disparaging you, Mrs. Bain. I'm just saying,
yes.
Father Honeygun, I mean, you're either a kind person or you're not. You're just unkind. What is complex about that?
It's a lot of time and resources that is spent, and you have to think about this is another human being that needs more than just food every day. And remember, this person is not contributing to the home like others who are working and bringing in an income. This is someone you have to feed two, three times for the day, in addition to the medication and all the extra care that is needed.
Okay.
Additionally, quite a challenge for families to have some sense of control over their loved one. Remember, they are human beings still, and they want to go out and explore. People who have mentally ill family members, first of all, there's a stigma. They don't want to associate with them.
But
Some
Father, some
people.
of them are not mentally ill. Some of them are just destitute.
That is true. That is true. So there is the stigma of considering them mentally ill, and the stigma of not want to associate with them. And so that is also a part of it. Then,
Oh,
in addition to that, nobody carries them anywhere, but they want to go and explore. They naturally want to see places, so they roam around all around the community, and that is also a challenge. So it's a wider support system that is needed for persons like this. And
yeah.
many churches, I can tell you, in my neck of the vineyard, many churches do their part to do feeding program and all that, but it's more than that. They want interaction, they want communication.
They
And
want to
if
talk to some people. They want friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, indeed, indeed.
But the way that we are treating them sometimes as if we can avoid them.
True. Because they don't
Scorning
probably
people.
clean themselves well, or they don't look well, or yeah. And then
And I
because
gather,
we're not sure of their mental state as well, because there are some persons who are on medication. When they're on the medication, they're nice. But when the medication is wearing off, it's a different experience.
yes, yes. So some
Yeah.
of them are kind of borderline, slightly, a little bit on the edge, maybe in terms of their mental state. So
Right.
touch and
Right.
go. Yes,
Right.
I see
Right.
what you mean. So, well, I mean,
Um,
Mrs. Bain, I think you're trying to come back in. Go ahead.
yes. And let us remember that mental illness doesn't necessarily mean that you behave and scream and shout
Yes,
and
yes. You have
mental
different
illness
types.
is a
Different types.
line, you
Yeah.
know. So somebody could be mentally ill, but nobody even noticed it when the person was growing up. The
Yeah.
True.
other thing is the use and abuse of drugs. And when I say drugs, I'm thinking of
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
or cocaine, and other things that people use.
Yeah.
That can affect people's minds and they can deteriorate and they don't function as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I want to point out is that some of these people, when they did earn, they wasted the money.
Mm-hmm.
They did not save. And so we need to have the culture of savings also so that people know that one of these days I'm going to be older and I'm going to need all of this. But they spent all like the prodigal son,
Mm-hmm.
and so we have this. And the thing about in
And then
families,
another concern, Mrs. Bain, is that some of them maybe when they spent all they did it partly because they were financially illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
of them just did not know how
100%.
to invest the money,
Exactly.
or they may have even
So
gotten bad advice.
so
Yeah,
we need to teach our children about family life, financial literacy, emotional intelligence. There are lots of things we have to begin to say, what if this happened? Because we don't want it to continue.
exactly. And
But
Father Honeygan,
I really think that forgiveness and a soul searching to say, okay,
Mrs. Bain, only because of
I'm
time, can we
healing.
delve into that a little bit more after the break? Because you touched on something there about forgiveness, because it does appear that many times families are splitting apart because of some old wounds.
Hmm.
Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the morning watch.
This Thursday, May 15, on the Truly Marvelous program To Have and to Hold with Dr. Colleen Beckles and co host Andre Allen Casey, we're diving into the real and often unspoken tension of cognitive dissonance in our marriages. What happens when your values and your relationship experiences don't line up? When your heart says one thing, but your reality feels different. Whether you're newly married or have been in it for years, this episode will help you unpack those inner conflicts and learn how to move towards clarity, connection, and healing. Don't miss it Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Lace up and get ready for a run to remember through the lush True Juice Orchards in Buckwalk. It's the 10th annual True Juice 5K Run Walk, Sunday, June 8, 2025. Let's make this 10th anniversary bigger and better as we raise funds for the Linstead Hospital. It's going to be special with exciting surprises in store. Register now at truejuice5k.com. Entry fee only $3,000. Each participant will receive a free 5K t-shirt. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details. Purchasing a vehicle is a lot more attainable with a Sagicor Bank Auto Loan. You'll be able to have your loan processed fast and hassle-free. We make it affordable with low interest rates. Your payments are manageable with up to 10 years to repay. Owning a new vehicle is comfortable with up to 100% financing. With a Sagicor Bank Auto Loan, your next ride is ownable and insurable. With discounts on auto insurance, with a Sagicor Bank Auto Loan, you'll be able to own the car of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We're in the first watch, and the topic is probing why we have abandoned poor relief relatives. Probing why we have abandoned poor relief relatives and the families that abandon them. Our guests are Father Can Honeygan, priest at the St. Jude's Anglican Church, Stony Hill, and Pauline Bain. Mrs. Bain is an associate counseling psychologist. Mrs. Bain, you were making a point just before the break. Please continue.
Well,
Mrs. Bain.
yes,
Well,
one
we did say on this side of the break we'll be looking at the whole issue of forgiveness, because it does appear that families are splitting apart oftentimes because of old wounds. I ended up by saying that just before the break. Were you quite through your thought at that point, Mrs.
no,
Bain?
no, I wasn't,
Continue,
because
continue.
it's really difficult to forgive, especially it's a father who really abandoned his children and didn't take care of them. And
Hmm.
in Jamaica, we hear women keep on saying, I'm a single mother, I'm a single mom, and I am managing on my own. And when this woman works hard and sends them to school and they do well, it's difficult to go back and look for that father to help, because, first of all, you don't have the love connection, and you have to really ask God to give you that love and understanding. So you have to learn to forgive that person. In addition, when people are mentally ill, we need to help the family members to have a better understanding of the mental illness and recognize that we may have to put our resources to help the person who is in this state. And that's very, very difficult,
Hmm.
but it's possible.
Is it that
I
we
don't know if
don't?
you want me
Sorry,
to,
go ahead.
I don't
Go
know
ahead.
if you want me to talk about one other solution that I think is required. You
Go
know,
ahead.
the church in this country has a lot of lands, and we could put some of our resources into housing solutions and farming, and it's difficult, but it
Hmm.
can be done so
Hmm.
that we help people to stay on their feet and
Hmm.
help each other. And when we teach people, we teach, I help you, you help the younger ones, you
Yes.
Hmm.
help the older ones. It's
Yeah.
a community issue,
Yeah.
really. That's what it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
Yes. And is it that sometimes we just don't know how to encourage and assist, motivate, come around some of these older persons? Some of them may have mental challenges, others don't. Is it we just don't seem to understand that, Mrs. Bain?
Yeah, we don't understand, especially abuse of alcohol, what it does to the person's mind.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes, yes.
And
Father
the
Honeygan, I hear you.
Yes.
I hear
dependency on,
Mrs. Bain. Were you through, Mrs. Bain? I'm sorry.
yes, I was just saying dependency on alcohol and what it does to the brain.
Yes.
It's a
And what
serious
it
issue.
does to the brain. Yes.
We think it's a joke, when you see the
Yes.
person staggering and
Yes.
behaving in odd ways.
Yes. 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 Father Honeygan,
Yes.
hearing you acknowledging a lot of what Mrs. Bain was saying as she spoke,
Yes.
and she mentioned a solution which a church like the Anglican Church could probably give some assistance with, and other churches as well, by the way,
Right.
in terms of housing solutions. Some churches do have quite a bit of land in terms of large tracts.
Right.
But even outside of that, we know that churches have been doing a lot already to
Hmm.
help
Hmm.
persons who are in various types of need, including persons who are, struggling with poverty in their older years. And
Right.
when we say poor relief, Father Honeygan, some persons may be looking for a definition. I know we're in the second half of the first watch, but just for some context, would you like to identify what we really mean by poor relief? Because when people say poor relief, they might think it's about a government program or a government program only. Father,
Hmm.
you want to give a little context there from your own experience as a priest?
Sure, sure. Many agencies, both private and government, many organizations, church, and other NGOs coming together to ensure that we help persons who are in great need. So you think about Food for the Poor, for instance, a great initiative, a great program, a great institution. But all the work that Food for the Poor is doing and has been doing over the years is still not making a great impact the way we'd love to see in our community because there are other parts of the wider problem that needs to be addressed. And as Miss Bain said, it's a wide challenge and it's a community challenge. We all have to come together to help the weaker ones and those who are in need, those who are I would say the most vulnerable in our community. And the elderly tend to be the ones who are most vulnerable and our children. And you find that poor relief persons tend to be more persons who are on the elderly side. I agree wholeheartedly what Ms. Bain has said. But creating institutions that can challenge the fight back and challenge the bigger poor relief problem that we have on a yearly basis is what we need, not short-term solutions, much longer-term solutions. And I agree with her that there's a cultural shift that needs to take place in the minds of people because people are mixing their alcohol and smoking at the same time. They're smoking ganja as if it is a quite normal thing. I see youths today, a lot of schoolers smoking weed and drinking boom and all these kind of things. And they don't realize that that's going to lead down the road to a problem that will cause them to be treated like one of those persons they look down upon today I see that in the culture where people look down upon those who are in need, and those who are elderly and don't have a home. And these young ones don't realize that by their practices today, they're going to make themselves become one of those persons in the near future if they're not careful.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's a big problem that needs a whole wide solution to it.
And Father Honeygun, where would you want to see the Jamaican society start or begin in terms of fixing this problem?
Well, I agree with Mrs. Bain on the education. When we know better, we will do better. We have to start there. And we need to have a heart of compassion for those who are in need. People don't become a person in poor relief just because they choose it. It's not necessary that they chose this path. And there are many cases where persons end up in this pathway because of varying conditions, varying circumstances. But the community, the families, the church, all stakeholders, everybody who makes up the society needs to be on board with regards to helping those who are in need.
And what about the whole thing? I mean, this might be going a couple steps further back to fix
Hmm.
something going forward, but the whole matter of how to handle finances, financial literacy, things like that. Because
Definitely,
as Mrs.
definitely.
Bain, as it was pointed out, persons, the money was, unfortunately not properly put
Right.
aside.
That's true.
Father Honeygun?
Yeah, I agree totally. Again, looking at some of the practices we see today, we must ball out, we must splash as soon as we have a little extra cash. And
Mhm.
where people do that is abuse substances and not live their life measured, so live for tomorrow. I heard something yesterday from an elderly lady about what happened in her community. I know it's unrelated, but it shows you the mindset where the young men wanted coconuts. They saw coconut trees laden with coconuts and they chopped down all the coconut trees just to get the
Ha!
coconut. You see the
Oh,
mindset I'm talking about. And these are some of the challenges that we are facing. The mindset is I can get what I want today, but there's no thought about tomorrow or next week or next year. Some of our youth say, I don't plan to live that long. So those are some of the things we have to work against and to
Yeah,
change the mindset of our people for the betterment of our people.
yes. And in terms of uh, other measures, Mrs. Bain, before we wrap,
okay.
I mentioned a couple of them earlier. Any more?
Yeah, just to repeat that we need the kind of housing solutions and proper facilities for our people. We need to seriously think about forgiving those who have hurt us very badly
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
willingness to help despite the fact that this person was stupid. Um, but it's something you have got to think through because you say, now I have what I need. Is it enough to share?
Hmm.
And, we're going to have to learn to do that and help our family members to have a better understanding of mental illness. That concerns me
Yes.
because
And
sometimes you
I'm
say,
not
I
trying to
know
scare.
nothing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mrs. Bain.
You say, I know nothing, you know, in just bad mind and reckless. But we have to look at those issues
You mean
and
I'm
we
not
have
trying to?
to be willing. Beg your pardon?
I was saying I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I mean you could have the script could be flipped tomorrow. We could have a world war, and persons who would think they have a lot, they could lose it all, and someone has to come and help
Indeed.
them.
Exactly.
Indeed. Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it just takes a really serious hurricane or an earthquake to do that to us.
Right. Right.
You are probably quite comfortable, and in the twinkling of an eye, the house is gone.
Hmm.
That's right. That's right.
Hmm.
Therefore,
No,
we need to be careful that we don't
yeah,
hold on tightly to what we have,
yeah,
but we will open our hands and share what we have. And the truth is, when we open our hands and share, it comes back to us. Not that we are looking for it to come back. My
Yeah.
personal experience, it comes back. You say,
Right back.
I
Yeah.
really can't manage this, I can't afford it, but I'm going to do it. And then it comes back in some way because God is faithful.
yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. Can I add one little point to this as well?
Very quickly, sir.
Um, we are a society that is also not fully aware how to deal with our stresses. So when people stress out, they do, they they practice things that are actually going to make things worse.
Including womanizing, which is where a lot of the money can end up going, by the way.
Right, right. So when we stress out, we abuse substances. So we need to deal
Father,
also with stress management.
yes, Father Honeygun and Mrs. Bain,
And
were,
we haven't talked about the anger,
yes,
Mm-hmm,
yes,
mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah,
managing the anger.
managing
yeah.
the anger. We're completely out of time. Wish we had more time. Never enough time in the morning watch. But I want to thank Mrs. Bain and Father Honeygun for the very important bits of information and sharing of the things you already know with the listening audience this morning. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thanks. Bye bye.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the morning watch.
Open a deposit account in the JN Bank Savings Streams promotion and save monthly for a chance to win an all expenses paid trip to Peru. Enter now. The time by JN Bank Savings Streams promotion is
7:31.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, I further my education and I make mama proud.
See so you can make the park, travel park, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
How are this
For
on my
more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deep fake. No deep fake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently. But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Febreze. Imagine getting home after a long day and it smells so amazing that it makes you smile. Try Febreze Plugs, an air freshener that delivers continuous scent for up to 50 days when you plug it in low mode. Indulge in wonderful scents for weeks with Febreze. La, 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 la.
Welcome back. You're tuned into the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here in Loop Jamaica News: police rescue abducted teacher in Hanover. 2 suspects fatally shot. In the Jamaica Observer: I didn't want to be alive anymore. Diddy's ex, Cassie, says she contemplated suicide, alleges pattern of abuse. And we have here in the Jamaica, in the Gleaner newspaper: South African leader and Trump will meet next week after US took in white South Africans as refugees. And although the headline doesn't say this, I understand that these are Afrikaners, commercial farmers from South Africa, and predominantly or all Christian. I wait with bated breath to see what comes of that meeting with President Donald Trump. I gather that these are commercial farmers from South Africa, happen to be white, and more or less they don't really have a home country to go back to because South Africa is their home, and there are allegations of atrocities being committed against them. Quite interesting and quite concerning. Well, coming up next, we'll read for some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what are your thoughts on the abandonment of poor relief relatives? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM, Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876 997 3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Get your CC Winans tickets right here at Love 101, 81 Hagley Park Road, $6,000 regular and $20,000 VIP. Don't miss out! These rates are only valid until Saturday, May 31. Get ready to take a trip down memory lane this Throwback Thursday, May 15, inside Alive 1 to 5 with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One. Get those mental muscles moving for the brain testing mental size at 1:45. Prayer Warriors, unite! Fuel your faith and ignite your spirit at 2 p.m. with Prayer Blast. At 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we look at cartoons we watched growing up. At 3 p.m., take a musical trip back in time with our Throwback Thursday playlist. At 4:30, stick and stay for more fun coming your way as Auntie Vashti wrap things up with the Small People Show. All this and more will come alive this Throwback Thursday, May 15, with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station Love 101.
This Thursday, May 15, on the Truly Marvelous program To Have and to Hold with Dr. Colleen Beckles and co-host Andre Allen Casey, we're diving into the real and often unspoken tension of cognitive dissonance in our marriages. What happens when your values and your relationship experiences don't line up? When your heart says one thing, but your reality feels different. Whether you're newly married or have been in it for years, this episode will help you unpack those inner conflicts and learn how to move towards clarity, connection, and healing. Don't miss it Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Now, for your responses to our social media question, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the abandonment of poor relief relatives? Drukal.
All right, so we do have a response on our WhatsApp line. That one comes from Cherry in Spanish tone. Now, Cherry is saying, or Cherry said rather, good morning. The abandonment of elderly relatives are cruelty. Now, no matter what happens, they remain family. It's something we cannot change. Some of them can be challenging as well as some situations, but aren't we challenging too? And they bother with us. It is our responsibility to care for them no matter the hurt at times. We need to forgive. Never abandon our elderly because they have life as well. So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for that feedback there, that response. Thank you so much. We move right into the second watch. The savings law clause. The savings law clause. A savings law clause is a provision in a constitution or other legal instrument that protects pre-existing laws from being struck down due to constitutional changes or amendments or other challenges. As Jamaica looks to do revisions to the constitution, well, it was indicated that that is the process we are in now. Concerns have been made in relation to the savings law clause, and it appears as if the issue of the savings law clause has come up again for discussion. Over the weekend just past, the Issachar Foundation of Jamaica held a meeting on this very same topic. The Issachar Foundation Jamaica. Let's get an overview of the discussion that went. We have as our guest this morning Shirley Richards, Legal Counsel, Jamaica Coalition for a Health Society, and an attorney at law, and Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law. Wendell Wilkins, Shirley Richards, good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Miss
morning. Good
Marsha.
morning.
Morning, Wendell. Morning.
Morning
No.
to you and morning to the listeners.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And what is a savings law clause and what role does it serve? I'll start with you, Shirley Richards.
Wendell, you want to take that?
Wendell
Well,
Wilkins?
yes. In the legislature moving forward from a colonial era into independence, there is usually a constitutional change. And with the change in the Constitution, which is the most fundamental and supreme law of the land, the question will arise is whether existing laws that existed at the time of the new constitutional provision should exist and continue. And many countries, Commonwealth countries like Jamaica, have a clause in the newly minted constitution which says that laws that existed before will be valid and okay as good law after the changeover. It's a protective mechanism to ensure continuity of the laws, and that clause normally specifies which category of such laws, like sexual offenses and some other types of offenses that existed before. So it means that if you have a law that is enforced before the constitutional change, the new constitution comes into being, such a law as specified by the saving law clause, that law will come over and will be valid and enforceable.
Yes, and
That is putting it simply.
Yes, and Jamaica has a Charter of Rights of 2011, yes? And there are some savings law clauses in that charter, yes?
Yes, if I may just comment briefly on what Mr. Wilkins said.
Go ahead.
So upon independence, what happened was that the various Commonwealth countries had general savings law clauses which saved all the laws which existed to a particular point. If I remember correctly, for Belize, that period was for 5 years, 5 years after independence, but that was an exception. Both Trinidad and Jamaica amended their constitution and continued to save some laws. Trinidad may have been general, but certainly with Jamaica, with the Charter of Rights, we saved certain specific laws. We disbanded the General Savings Law Clause and saved certain laws, including the death penalty, including laws related to sexual offenses, which Mr. Wilkins mentioned,
yes.
laws relating to the life of the unborn, that means the abortion law relating to obscene publications. And to my mind, even the law on marriage, which is in the Constitution, is one such clause. So there are a number of clauses within the current charter which saves laws prior to the passage of the charter. Because what happens is that the rights there are worded very broadly. So just in case, the Parliament wanted to make it clear, I think the people wanted to make it clear that, listen, interpretation of the laws, interpretations of the rights will not affect these laws which currently exist. So in a sense, it saves those laws from judicial challenge within the judicial system.
And we saw one such example recently where there was a challenge in the courts and the court wasn't able to touch certain laws. And so, why is the savings law clause issue coming back up again, Shirley Richards?
Why is it coming back up again? Okay, because one, we're in the process of constitutional reform,
Mrs. Richards,
and then
I'm sorry, Ms. Richards, can you hold that thought for a second? Because I see where we're upon a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch. Very important topic. We'll be right back.
It is now 7:45 a.m.
When you see opportunity, make sure you take it. So when I got a piece of land to grow things, I jumped at it. With my Jane Bank small business loan, I grew the opportunity. I've reaped a whole new life for my family. Now my goods supply plenty market across the parish. Jane Bank helps you grow your business with a Jane Bank small business loan that is perfect for you. Borrow from $10,000 up to $1.5 million to help cover expenses. Visit janebank.com to get started today. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Are you ready for something mega?
Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels 2 promotion. April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Red Stripe, Heineken, True Milk, Rex, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carryburst Juice Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart. Best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Rating Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Ready to experience 6 times more freshness in your clothes? Try Downy Scent Beats. Its fragrance is so amazing, you have to sniff it to believe it. Try Downy Scent Beats today. 6 times more freshness versus using detergent alone.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch. The topic is Savings Law Clause. Our guests, Shirley Richards and Wendell Wilkins. Shirley Richards, Legal Counsel, Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society and an attorney at law, and Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law. Shirley Richards, just before the break, you're making a point. Please continue. Shirley
was
Richards.
saying that we are in the period of constitutional reform, and certainly one of the issues being considered is whether Jamaica should leave the Privy Council and go to the CCJ. It is as being the final court of appeal, CCJ, Caribbean Court of Justice. It is argued that this will make the whole matter of independence full and complete, to leave the Privy Council and to instead appoint the CCJ as the final court. So there are lots of, there's a political argument to it, and one can see the political argument. But for some of us, it's not, a final court is not only about, or cannot be, or ought not to be, only about a political argument. One must look at the approach of both courts to the whole matter of the interpretation and the application of laws. And in this matter of the savings law clauses, we've found a major difference. They found a major difference between the way the CCJ approaches savings law clauses and the way the Privy Council handles savings law clauses.
What is that difference?
Well, so an excerpt from Mr. Justice Saunders, president of the CCJ, and he said this in a case, I think it was McEwen case. He said, law and society are dynamic, not static. A constitution must be read as a whole. Courts should be astute to avoid hindrances that would deter them from interpreting the Constitution in a manner faithful to its essence and its underlying spirit. So that's the end of that quote. No, but look at what the The Privy Council said in Chandler, the living instrument doctrine, so that's a doctrine that says law and society are not static, they are dynamic. So that doctrine enables broadly worded statements of fundamental rights to be adapted to reflect changing attitudes and changes in a society. But not all provisions in a constitution are of that nature. The meaning and purpose of a savings clause which preserves existing law does not change over time. So, end of quote. So we have found that the Privy Council, it's not that its philosophy on these matters is any different. In fact, they more than likely hold very, very liberal views. But it would appear, not that it would appear, from what we have researched and studied, we are of the view that the Privy Council has a greater respect for the actual text of a constitution as distinct from the Caribbean Court of Justice. The Privy Council is willing to respect the text and to apply the text, whereas the CCJ sees itself, and here's another quote I have from the president, as in the role of filling the gap between law and society.
That would have been the president at the time, Saunders.
No, I think Mr. Justice Saunders is still the president. Okay. I know he's an outgoing president.
Oh, okay. Continue.
I don't know.
No, I think the president has changed. Somebody else is there now.
Hello?
Mr. Wilkins, you are making a point.
Yeah, I am saying that somebody else has entered as president now.
Yeah, I think it's Dr. Anderson. Continue, Mrs. Richards. Miss Richards. Have we lost Miss Richards? Shirley Richards? Have we lost both guests?
No, I'm here.
Okay, but are we hearing Shirley Richards? Shirley Richards? Not sure if we're hearing Shirley Richards.
The point that arose some years ago and is still persisting is that the Jamaican Constitution, in its modern form, the fundamental right, speaks to the right of the citizens regarding equality before the law and also freedom of expression. So there are persons who are of the view that when it comes to same sexual activity, same sexness, what we oftentimes refer to in a loose way as homosexual activity, should be able to take place because it is part of the constitutional right to freedom of expression, privacy, equality before the law. And there is a counter argument that that kind of sexual activity was prohibited before the constitutional change in 2011 and was saved by the saving law clause. So there is a conflict between the two interpretations. And so far for the Jamaican saving law clause, how it is constructed and the interpretation put on it by our court so far is that the way the legislator framed the saving law clause regarding sexual offences, the old law that prohibits what we loosely call homosexual activity is still the law and therefore is saved and is applicable and
So
is
in other
no
words-
longer unconstitutional, that old sexual offense law.
Yes.
So that controversy is still going on,
Yes.
although the Court of Appeal has ruled in a certain way.
Yes.
And
So for the benefit of the listeners, Mr. Wilkins and Shirley Richards, because I know sometimes as lawyers we use a lot of terminology which not necessarily every single person is getting or understanding. So based on what you have both said so far, it would appear as if the Privy Council would be more likely to uphold our current laws against same-sex relations, against abortion, against obscene publications, and they are more likely to uphold our laws that say that marriage is between one man and one woman. Is that what the Privy Council is more likely to do based on your study so far of how savings law clauses are being treated by the Privy Council as opposed to the CCJ? Mr.
That
Wilkins?
certainly is my conclusion, that the Privy Council, as you have said it, based on their the judgment to date, that they would be more likely to uphold those the constitutionality of those laws than the CCJ. In fact, I said at the lecture on Saturday that my conclusion is that the savings law clauses are not safe in the hands of the CCJ.
I see. And by the way, as we say, the CCJ, yes, Justice Saunders is still the president, but he retires shortly and will be replaced by Justice Winston Anderson. Thank you for that, Mr. Richards. So, in terms of the CCJ, are you a little bit surprised or shocked that the CCJ, from what you have studied so far, from things that have been said by, for example, Justice Saunders, are you a little bit surprised that the CCJ would appear to be less likely to uphold our laws against abortion, against same-sex relations, etc., as pointed out? Are you surprised?
I am disappointed.
You're disappointed.
I'm disappointed that as Caribbean people, we do not see that what we are doing is to take us right back to the philosophy of our colonizers. Instead of acknowledging the sovereignty and independence of our own philosophies, our own Caribbean people would want to take us back to the perverse philosophy of our previous colonizers. I'm disappointed.
Yes, but what's interesting is, where does that leave the discussion in relation to the CCJ? Because a lot of persons have been more or less schooled in the whole notion that we need to break away from the Privy Council because we need to sever ties with the colonial masters. But yet there's this current, can I call it a quandary, where the Privy Council is more likely to uphold the very laws we would like to keep. Shirley Richards and then Mr. Wilkins before we wrap. Shirley Richards.
Well, I think that is a republic, but still retains the Privy Council.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that because you become a republic, you have to leave the Privy Council.
Yes, understood.
But unfortunately, that is the impression which is being given.
Yes, as if you can't remain with the Privy Council even if you become a republic. I see. Wendell Wilkins, your thoughts before we
I have a slightly different focus. What is happening in terms of this particular matter pertaining to human sexuality is the interpretation of Constitution. There is a view that you must interpret it in a modern, purposeful way with great liberality to the interpretation and to bring old laws into modern times to match what is happening in other parts of the world sometimes. So there is a constitutional interpretation move, which is different from another approach.
Yes.
Sorry?
I'm saying in some other parts of the world, not all.
Right. But there is another view which says you look at the strict interpretation. What was the intendment of the legislature? And if that is seen from how the legislature had passed the law, and it's clear that it is saving old law, then old law applies in the new constitutional dispensation. And that is the battle. And the CCJ, Caribbean Court of Justice, seems to be having a liberal approach to saving laws clause. and it seems that the present judicial committee of the Privy Council will have a different view. That when you look at how the saving laws clause
Wendell
is
Wilkins and Trevor
put,
Richards, only because of time, I think we're completely out of time. We
okay,
probably
I
have to leave
understand.
it there today. And I must say, I too am disappointed at the CCJ, what it appears to be the approach that they're taking. But we have to leave it there today. Thank you, Ms. Richards, and thank you, Mr. Wilkins.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you, listeners, for
Yes.
being with us.
Bye bye.
Join Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page, and now TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back to Love in the Morning with Jacob.